The next flower I'm going to stitch is the white yarrow. I like to stitch this one as a nice filler flower when you're kind of low on ideas. Basically, you're just using French knots to create a nice little cluster. And I'm wrapping it twice for these French knots. I can show you how it will look if we do it just once. So 1, 2. We'll do the next cluster with just one wrap. French knots are great for just adding nice texture. And depending on what shape you make the cluster, they can kind of look like several different types of flowers. This is also a great way to practice French knots if you're feeling like not that confident about them. I find if I make a mistake and I have sort of a sloppy French knot, it's really easy to kind of cover it up when you're doing clusters like this, because you can just kind of do another one on top of it. Okay, so I'll bounce up here, and for this part I'll just show you what it looks like if I just wrap it once. Basically, you're just going to get smaller French knots. So if you're trying to go for an effect of like a really nice, small, delicate flower, not sure how much of a difference you notice there, but that's kind of the difference between 1 and 2. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to go back to doing 2 because it does make for faster work. And I'm kind of just doing these however I want. I'm not really following a particular shape, and that's kind of what's nice about it, because everyone's will look a little bit different. One downside of French knots is that they use a lot of floss. Probably have to rethread my needle. Oh, and I'm using 2 strands of floss, by the way. Forgot to mention that. And a size 9 needle. And I'm just going to keep going here, finish this off for you guys to see. A nice way to do it might be to mix in 2 wraps and 1 wraps, just sort of all throughout, so that you have kind of like a balance of small and large French knots that make up your flower. And we'll do one more cluster down here. And you can make these clusters a lot heavier, you can make them lighter. That's kind of the nice thing about it. You can do it however you want. And there you go, our little white yarrow.